What's up, friends? Welcome into Rock Chalk Sports, getting your week going with Elijah Schmidt behind the cameras and Dan Courtwright. I am Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us. It is game day, and what a big game day it is for KU men's basketball. Can't wait to chat about the Hawks and the Wildcats tonight at Allen Fieldhouse. Going to do that a little bit later in the show as we want to recap what transpired Saturday as Kansas improved to 8-2 in Big 12 play with a 12-point win over the Utah Utes. So we'll get into that here in the opening segment. And then we're going to hear from a couple of Jayhawks, Flory, Bidunga, and Trey White at the podium next segment. Case of the Mondays following that. And obviously it's Super Bowl Monday. Everybody a little sleepier. Maybe the pants are a little tighter these days after. What'd you have for food? What'd you have food-wise?
So I actually got Jefferson's wings.
Nice.
Took them over to a buddy's house. They had a little Super Bowl watch party there. So I brought...
Did you get the 50 for 50?
I did.
Yes.
50 for 50. So
yes.
I got
Shout out to Jefferson's, one of our partners here at Kansas Nation.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Great wings. The mango habanero, by the way.
That's
fantastic.
Like an undefeated wing flavor.
It's so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, brought that. It was a big hit. Piper decided to not come with me. And she said, however many wings you have left, make sure to bring them back. Guess how many wings I had left?
0.
1.
You had 1. Did you bring it back?
Yeah, I did.
That's
and
so
I brought
funny.
it back in the big tray.
That is awesome. Did she hit you with the Daniel?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
She's like, why'd you even? You said
That's awesome.
You said bring them back.
No,
I had one left. So yeah, I brought wings, but it was a nice little spread. There was like a nice charcuterie board, and somebody brought some Domino's pizza, and it was a nice spread over at my buddy's house.
Better food than football. Yeah, we did my 2-year-old was just like in heaven because it was, instead of sitting at the dinner table for dinner, we did kind of like a charcuterie board, but but she loves like shredded cheese. Like she loves cheese. She loves cheese. So I made this charcuterie board that was like partially for, kid friendly or whatever.
Sure.
So we had like some almonds and some cashews and stuff and blueberries, but she also likes black olives. So I put some black olives on there.
She likes black olives?
Yeah. She just throws them back. But then I put like a corner of shredded cheese, and then I snuck in like some Sour Patch Kids over here. And then she looked at it. She's like,
that sounds like my kind of charcuterie
board. She was like loving it. So we put a little blanket in the living room, which is partially, we wanted to watch the game.
Of course.
And that way,
so you made the charcuterie board? Your wife didn't?
I mean, yeah, but I made it, but calling it a charcuterie board is not.
You threw some slabs of meat and cheese on it.
Stuff. Yeah. I mean, we had some, like some shredded. It was just like a kid friendly, just literally putting different food items in the in the corners of the plate or whatever. So,
makes sense.
But no, but we also ordered some wings too. So
nice.
It was fun. That was our protein.
Where'd you get wings
from? Wingstop. Big fan.
Nice.
Big fan.
Huge.
Very good.
I also like
not as good as Jefferson's.
No.
Obviously.
Yes.
But yeah, that was a quicker option for us. So yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. Better food than football, like I said yesterday. We'll get into that in our Case of the Mondays segment as the Seahawks win the Super Bowl. Shout out, by the way, Logan Brown, Bryce Cable do.
Yeah.
They didn't play for the Seahawks for a variety of reasons. We had injured reserve for one of them. We had practice squad for the other one. But that ring is still going to shine as they are Super Bowl champions. How about that?
Yeah, that ring fits the same.
2 Jayhawks. Going to hear from the 2-time national champion who had an additional year as the AP #1 team, Bill Self, after Case of the Mondays. And then we are going to indeed preview KU and Arizona, a top 10 matchup tonight. At the time of this recording, we don't know where Kansas is slated in the top 10. We will a little bit later in the show, but Arizona, they don't go and stay at #1 as they are still undefeated, 23-0. I think it'll be a pretty good atmosphere tonight at Allen Fieldhouse.
Think so?
A little bit later, we'll talk Kansas women's basketball. They did what they needed to in beating Cincinnati in the nightcap, if you will, of the Twin Bill at Allen Fieldhouse, and some KU softball recap, and then a little bit more Super Bowl chatter as well before Dan gives his game pick tonight, KU and Arizona. Man, I really want to talk KU Arizona off the jump.
Yeah.
But let's recap Utah.
Utah.
We don't have to, I guess, but we should talk about what happened on Saturday.
Yes.
We certainly have had Arizona not in the back of our mind, closer to the forefront. And I think that was probably similar to some of the guys, if they were being completely honest with themselves. But Kansas did win. Do want to, off the top, shout out Crown Automotive. Miles Schneier and his team do a fantastic job getting you in the vehicle that you need. Very friendly salespeople. Check them out on South Iowa in Lawrence or crownautomotive.com. You can browse their selection. They've got a great line of new and used vehicles. Crown Automotive, founding partner here, Kansas Nation. Really, really appreciate their partnership. And certainly, like I said, Toyota, Volkswagen, whatever you need, Miles Schneier and his team at Crown Automotive, that is the place to be. All right, Dan, KU, Utah, 71-59. Kansas got to win.
They did.
18-5, 8-2 in conference play. Kansas has now won 7 consecutive Big 12 games. Again, we're going on about a month ago that I was sitting at this desk. It was January 10th. Today's February 9th that David Lawrence and I were doing the postgame locker room show. Elijah Schmidt was here, and we're like, man, we just lost to West Virginia. We're 11-5. Well, nothing but wins for Kansas since then. And this was one that Kansas was viewed as a massive favorite. They were going to get the win. You felt confident. Utah kind of hung around, but kind of a snooze fest as you would expect. And just a classic trap game, a classic not as much juice type game, but the Hawks got the win.
Yeah. First, I want to give a shout out to every single member of the Kansas men's basketball team for being incredibly media trained, because everyone kept on, asking about Arizona, and they're like, "Oh, how do you not look towards Arizona?" Like, "Oh, well, we just go one game at a time." We don't play, and there's no repercussions for us saying this. I didn't care about Utah. This game was one of those ones where you had to get through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think, like I said, they were very well media trained, and they said, yes, well, we were looking at Utah and taking one game at a time, and all of the right things were said. But if you look at what happened out there, kind of what we had talked about a little bit in terms of a trap game, and you saw flashes of it, right? I think Utah got off to a hot start. I think Kansas was a little sluggish. I think they weren't necessarily super prepared. I don't think Kansas had maybe the best game plan in terms of completely shutting them down, and you could just tell. I'll go ahead and say this, because you had texted kind of afterwards. I mean, some of the guys kind of seemed, I don't know, is bored maybe the right word?
Maybe a little bit.
Bored? Yeah, it's just like, it was Utah, right? And look, Terrence Brown, great player. Keanu Dawes, by the way, had a fantastic game. He finished his game with 22 points, 10 for 13 from the field. He had a couple of dunks. He had a couple of threes. He looked good. Kansas just kind of got through this game. They knew that they were the better team, and it's almost kind of like they wanted to reserve a little bit, because obviously you're on another quick turnaround and you only have 1 day of rest. I'm not even going to say rest, because you know that they practiced yesterday, and they practice hard, and that Bill Self was on them because the number one team in the nation is coming into town. So I'm not even going to say they had 1 day of rest. They had 1 day turnaround after playing against Utah. It probably would have been natural for them to maybe take a little bit of a load off.
Even Coach Self said that a lot of the guys were thinking about Arizona.
Yeah.
Tuesday last week,
yeah.
Right after the Texas Tech game.
Granted, and he did say that they practiced for Arizona on Wednesday.
Yes, which I think is standard practice for the most part when you have a Saturday, Monday, because you can't practice as much as fans want to hear this. Yeah. You can't practice 4+ days or prepare 4+ days for one team, let alone Utah, respectfully, and then have 1 day of essentially a walkthrough for Arizona. That's not how it works, right? Just like in the NCAA tournament, when you've got 3 or 4 days, you're not going to solely focus, even though we talk about, and that's coach speak of all coach speak, is focus on the next game.
Yeah, right.
Even though we talk about that, you're not going to completely ignore the fact that you also have a game that, by the way, is against a better team in 2 days. So, but obviously, I mean, it was a situation where Kansas is facing one of the worst teams in the conference to now one of the best teams in the conference, a team that has not lost. And there's not a lot to go through with this game other than the fact that Utah did hang around. Kansas, after a Darryn Peterson elbow jumper, made it 18-14. Hawks were up 4. Utah had a stretch where after starting 5 of 7, they had missed their next 8. Big play in the first half, I thought, was at 23-18 Kansas. Live ball turnover. Melvin Council scoops it up. He's underneath the basket, kicks it out to Jaden Dawson, who hits a three. That makes it 26-18. Nice seeing Jaden Dawson deliver on that front. But we went to half with Kansas up 38-31. There was a period at the end of the first half, Dan, where Melvin Council went down hard.
Yeah.
And ended up being slow to get up, which is a rarity. You know, you have some athletes who it seems like all the time are falling on the floor.
Right.
That was not the case. Melvin Council is always getting up very quickly. And I had to go to the locker room for a little bit. You didn't want it to be a hand or a wrist or a shoulder or anything like that. Evidently, he just needed stitches, got 6 stitches. I know that you asked Coach Self about Melvin's toughness, and we're going to hear from that a little bit later. And Bill Self said, well, you got to get stitches if you need stitches. He got 6 stitches. He came back, but he had got a basket and then forced a turnover and then ends the half with a jumper as well. KU goes into the break up 7.
Yeah, and you love to see that at a Melvin Council, right? When he goes down super hard and is super slow to get up, you go, oh no, this is like, it's uncharacteristic of him. And then you kind of saw him grabbing his face, and you saw the replay, he kind of hits his face on the ground. You go, oh man, that's not good. And winds up busting his chin and went to locker room, gets 6 stitches. And that may have been, and there's a lot of good things, and we'll kind of pick and choose the good things out of this game because there were a lot of really good things. That was one of them, and that might have been one of the biggest crowd pops I think that we've heard at Allen Fieldhouse this year when Melvin Council came back into the game. I think everybody kind of had a sigh of relief. You know, they're like, oh, he's okay. Then the cheers happened, and then you heard the barking. And you're like, all right, well, it's right. And then right away, he forces a turnover and then makes a bucket. I mean, just talk about a guy who just like has no quit in him whatsoever. And I think, you know, we make a lot of the dog comparisons and the dog food and all this different kind of stuff. But it literally is like there could not be a better comparison for Melvin Council Jr. than an absolute dog, because he's just an animal out there, man. He has no quit in him. He wants to get out there and try his hardest. And you had said this best. There's never been a player who's judged less on field goal percentage than Melvin Council Jr. And it's absolutely right, because every other aspect of his game is top tier. And it's just so fun to watch. So that was a great thing to see. Melvin Council obviously coming back, having 11 points in this game, right away getting a turnover and a bucket after coming out and getting 6 stitches in his chin. And then on the flip side, I thought this was one of the best defensive games that we've seen out of Kansas, specifically with Flory Bidunga. 7 blocks in this game. He went 17 points, 10 rebounds, 7 blocks. He was on triple-double watch. We were talking afterwards. I think Henry, maybe and Gary Bedore were talking about this, thinking maybe he should have had 8 blocks. I think there was one that they gave to Jamari McDowell, maybe, where they thought it should have been Flory's. But that alone, Bill Self said this last week. He said, Flory Bidunga is the best defender in the nation. In this game against Utah, he backed that up. I mean, it wasn't just the block shots. It was the switching 5 where he's gotten substantially better. If you look at early in the year, specifically you look at the UCF and the West Virginia losses, right? That was a big point of contention is, hey, Kansas is switching 5, and all of a sudden you have Flory Bidunga and Bryson Tiller, you can say both of those guys, on a mismatch, and they're getting blown by, and it's just not working, right? And maybe don't switch as much. Maybe don't have those mismatches as much. But then they kind of continue with the switching 5, and you see Flory Bidunga being able to guard 1 through 5 at such a high level at this point in the season that it is one of the best things to be able to watch. If you're a defensive, kind of psycho basketball junkie guy, watching Flory Bidunga play defense is top tier basketball. That is one of the best things to watch. And again, 7 blocks, incredible. But I think one of the larger stories is how good of a job that he did on those switches whenever he was guarding those guards.
Yeah, he really was the story of the second half. Majority of this game was Bidunga. More on that. In the second half, Utah would cut it to 2. They scored the first 5 points, but we're seeing so much from Flory on the offensive side as well that we didn't see earlier in the year. Defensively, he's always been a rim protector, but his ability to switch 5 and not gamble, I think, is important. Be the second to jump, he talks about.
Yeah.
That's also very, very impressive. And, offensively, like you said, 17 points. He finished an alley-oop from Bryson Tiller. That little two-man game they have, reminiscent of the Morris twins working together, how there's a lob thrown up and a flush. He had a dunk on an out-of-bounds under, did Flory. He hit a couple free throws. Kansas eventually would get separation. It was 50-44. Kansas goes on a 10-0 run to make it 60-44. In there was a Darryn Peterson floater and a ridiculous Darryn Peterson and one dunk. He's got a couple unbelievable dunks right now, and that's a huge story as well. The fact that DP played more minutes than any other Jayhawk in this game. He played 33 plus minutes, or 34 if you round it up. So good for DP on that front, and certainly good for Kansas seeing him out on the court. Utah really didn't pack enough of a punch. Obviously, they've got some nice scorers, but again, overall, kind of a snooze fest. Kansas wins 71-59. Bidunga, the story, though, 17-10. You mentioned the 7 blocks and his ability to stay down, to guard guards. We saw right away, we were talking about it in one of the first possessions, Terrence Brown, one of the top scorers in the conference, can't score on Flory. He tried to take him, and he ended up having to pass it out because on a switch, Flory had him down. Other notes from this game, we'll go through the stats. You mentioned Council. That is so true about the field goal percentage that we've talked about, how he's judged less than anybody else. He's also gotten better shooting from the field as well throughout the season. He seems to be even making better decisions, and obviously the guys are getting used to having DP out there. But yeah, he does everything else so well. He ends up with 11 on 5 of 11, 6 assists, 5 boards. DP has 14. He's still been in double figures, but that, I believe, is a season low for Peterson. White has 16. He missed all 4 of his threes in this one. In all, Kansas shoots 50% to Utah 40%. Kansas just 17% from 3 of 18. That's a good game to do that. If you're going to win by double figures, and if you're not going to hit your shots, do it against Utah because, the Utes are not very good. They're now just 1-9 in conference play. Elsewhere, Kansas +4 on the glass. Kansas was +10 in the paint, +9 fast break points. They had 18 assists on 28 field goals. Did the Jayhawks. Bryson Tiller as well was solid. He had 8 points on 5 boards, 4 assists as well, as BT seems to have certainly carved out a role and knows what his plan is. So now we talk about Arizona, and we'll get to this a little bit later. Utah was certainly a get-through game. Arizona is 10-0, 23-0 in conference play. They've had some on paper tough games, and again, we'll do their schedule in whole a little bit later, but this is the beginning of a really tough stretch for them. BYU is laboring right now. They might be out of the top 25. We'll let you know here in a little bit, but if they're still in the top 25, then this game at Kansas for Arizona is the first of 4 against top 25 teams, and the first of 6 out of 7 against top 25 teams. Of course, 2 games against Kansas, Texas Tech, BYU, at Houston, and Iowa State. Plus, they got to go to Baylor, which isn't exactly a layup. So Arizona's really impressive. They were picked 4th in the preseason poll in the Big 12. Kansas was picked 6th. Zona has just gone out and not lost. They've got impressive wins that I'll get to later, but Florida and UConn certainly highlight that. It's going to be an unbelievable atmosphere. I've got some nuggets regarding Kansas against the number 1 team in Allen Fieldhouse. Kansas against teams ranked higher than them since Coach Self has been here. We'll have all that when our Arizona preview gets going a little bit later. But what an opportunity, Dan, for the Jayhawks in general to pick up their 8th win. Right now, I think they're solidly on that 3 line in the NCAA tournament, which is where I said I wanted to be. Well, now I want to be higher, right? You want to work your way toward the 2 line. Kansas already has a fantastic resume. They've got great metrics. They're great, as usual, in terms of strength of schedule. Very high net, as usual, as well, for Kansas. But if you beat the number 1 team in the country, who hasn't lost, by the way, I mean, that's going to jump you even higher. And it's going to be tough for Kansas to win the rest of their games. There's no doubt about that. But if you win this one, obviously the resume stuff, all that will work itself out. If you lose this one, even though it's the number 1 team in the country, it's not a bad loss. You're certainly bummed out because you know that your next game is at Iowa State.
Yep.
And you still got to have a return trip to Arizona. So there have been a lot of really big games on the schedule. This is a really big one, and it's become vital that Kansas get this one as well.
Yeah, I think when you look at it from Arizona's perspective, I think that they might be shaking in their boots a little bit just because of the pressure of being undefeated at this point has to be weighing on them, right? I've never envied teams who go undefeated. You talk about, 2015 Kentucky, who, made it all the way through, and then all of a sudden they wound up losing in, I believe, the Elite Eight. If I'm in that situation, and granted, I don't have the same mindset as a lot of these guys, but the pressure of that is different. And you go into Allen Fieldhouse understanding that, hey, I have a 4-game stretch coming up at Kansas. And then you got Texas Tech, who's been playing good ball. Then you got BYU, who has been bad, but they're still a top 25 team as of right now because we're pre-recording the show. And then you're at Houston after that. Then you're at Baylor, which isn't going to be a cakewalk, right? I mean, they have 2 guys who are going to be playing in the NBA probably next year. So you're looking at this thinking, man, this is the beginning of the toughest stretch for Arizona right now. This is a must win for Arizona, and it's always going to be tough. Big Monday going into Allen Fieldhouse. You got to think that, that's in the back of their minds of like, oh man, like this is, you almost, again, this is weird to say, but you almost want to lose one probably early just to get the monkey off your shoulder of, hey, we're an undefeated team. All that pressure is on you right now, right? I think Kansas got their losses out of the way, and I think that they're continuing to build. You'd rather be in that situation in terms of mindset, in terms of growth, and kind of where you are as a team, as opposed to being an undefeated team walking into Allen Fieldhouse on Big Monday. That's got to be really tough for Arizona. So this is a really good opportunity for Kansas to kind of take advantage of that. Take advantage of the pressure, apply that pressure to Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona is going to be coming in feeling good about themselves, probably expecting a great atmosphere. Tommy Lloyd said post-game after they completely destroyed Oklahoma State on Saturday that Jayhawk fans are going to be out for blood.
84-47.
It's going to be maybe even louder than it was against BYU, so it's going to be an incredible night, a late night at Allen Fieldhouse, and we're going to have a full breakdown on Arizona a little bit later in the show. The undefeated Wildcats coming to Allen Fieldhouse February 9th, and they have not lost. What a season it's been. Can Kansas be the team to knock them off? For what it's worth, not the only undefeated team in the country.
True.
Miami of Ohio has also not lost, and the latest CBS Sports bracketology I saw had Kansas as a 3 seed, as we talked about. The 6 versus 11 was Kentucky against Miami of Ohio.
Oh my God!
Like, are you kidding me? So,
what
granted,
a terrible
you
draw
can't
that would
read
be
it.
for
You
Kentucky.
can't read into those.
Yeah.
Nobody has any idea who's going to be paired or where you're going to be playing or anything like that. But again, if Kansas is able to stay on the 3 line or get to the 2, dare I say 1, if they keep winning, then Kansas is going to be playing in close environments. And the other thing is, St. Louis and Oklahoma City are both first, second round options for Kansas. And both of those are, I literally did this because I was calculating what the drive would be from my house for NCAA tournament coverage. And it was like 4 hours, 16 minutes to St. Louis and 4 hours, 19 minutes to Oklahoma City or something. So I'm like, Kansas
Easy
fans
drive.
are going to travel.
Yeah.
So stay on that top
Way
3
better than
seed line.
than Salt Lake City.
Oh my God. Yeah, absolutely. The Salt Lake City trips have not been good.
No.
Not just in the NCAA tournament. There's also a Big 12 swing over to Salt Lake City last year that didn't go great. But different bracketologies, different potential opponents. The most important thing, Kansas, keep the good vibes, keep winning. A lot of great opportunities. Really excited for this one tonight in the Fog. 8 o'clock, 6:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show. After this, we're going to go to the podium post-game. Flory, Bidunga, and Trey White after KU's Saturday win, 71-59 over Utah. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City. Welcome back to Rock Chalk Sports. Shout out to Custom Lawn and Landscape, a new partner we have here over at Kansas Nation. Wintertime, not downtime for your lawn. Dan knows this best. He's trying to take care of his in preparation for a great spring. It is prep time, though. January and February, when a healthy spring lawn is built, you've only got 2.5 weeks on this very short February, so make sure that you're keeping that in mind. Custom Lawn and Landscape is scheduling winter services still this month, from soil treatments and pre-emergent applications to tree and shrub care that protects your yard from harsh cold. Don't wait until spring and just be wishing that your lawn looked better. Take care of it now. Enjoy your yard all year long. Custom Lawn and Landscape. You can schedule online at customlawn.com. Better lawns start early. Custom Lawn and Landscape. 71-59. Look this up really quick because I think there was a game last year. Colorado came to town, and I want to say it was a 71-59 win, Kansas over Colorado. For some reason, that came to my mind because it was the same deal. And granted, last year's team,
71-59.
yeah, last year the team obviously doesn't have the juice that this year's team has. But I remember the game going kind of similarly, where Colorado was the 16 seed in the Big 12 tournament last year. Utah likely going to be the 16 seed in the Big 12 tournament. Kansas wins 71-59, strangely enough, in both games. Kind of a sleeper. It will not be a sleeper tonight. And Kansas is going to have to play a lot better.
Sebastian
if you want to
Rancic
beat
had
Arizona.
19 points in that game.
How about that?
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Shout out to Seabass.
Seabass.
Gonna enjoy the win from Saturday just a tick longer. Let's go to the podium post game. Flory, Bidunga, and Trey White.
Flory, among a lot of things you did today, you had 7 blocks. How have you improved your timing to take your shot blocking to this level?
I always got taught, to jump second, and I think that's what I did pretty much all along. And then I feel like with my quickness, it's, pretty easier to just like get on the earth. And then I think that's what I did tonight and ended up pretty good for us.
Trey, it was a battle for most of the game. What were they doing right? 1, 2, how big was he today?
Man, he was huge. Guarding 1 through 5, that's kind of our secret weapon for real. So I feel like, Utah, they're a great team. Credit to them, but I feel like they're best when they can get the switches on the bigs and get the ISOs. And I feel like, that's one of our strengths. So tonight it kind of played into our hand.
Flory, it seemed like early in the game, maybe some of the guards were trying to go at you when you switched onto them. Just did you see them trying to attack you, and how were you able to slow them down?
I mean, I look you wonder. I want them to attack me, you feel me? So that I can prove how athletic I am. But, that's a plan. We knew that they're going to do that. So we were ready for it. Hey.
Trey, you did some of your best work in the second half after kind of an up and down start. How were you able to improve over the course of the game?
At halftime, my teammates just kind of told me to be aggressive, keep my head in it, just trusting, trying to get it in the flow of the offense. I feel like that's when I'm at my best. So we were playing faster second half, and I was able to be a little bit more aggressive.
Jerry, how comfortable is it to have Flory as the last line of defense where he can swat it away?
I can't even put it into words. I wouldn't even put him as the last line in defense because he'll pick up and switch on the guard too. But it's just good to know if I do get beat, it's gonna get beat as well. So.
Have you ever seen a guy with so much bounce?
So much bounce? I don't know. He's up there. He's up there for sure.
How tough was it not to overlook them for the big matchup Monday?
We try to take every game the same, honestly. That was kind of our motto all week, one game at a time. We know we got some big games coming up, but this was a big game today too, so just try to, get the win.
Flory, I know you told me that you wanted to kind of develop this offseason and get to a chance to be an eventual NBA player. Where have you seen your development on the defensive end and offensively as the season's gone along?
Defensively, I would say, just switching 5, I think it's a big power. It at least need to be a big part of my game, prove everybody that I can go 1 to 5. So far, that's it.
And offensively?
I would say just, I feel like as coach been saying, I can impact the game even though if I'm not scoring. So just me being, athletic and then moving around, create so much stuff for my teammates. So.
7 blocks. What's it like? What's the key to blocking a shot, and what's that feeling like? Knowing you're back there and protecting the rim.
What's that feel like? Have you ever blocked a shot before?
Me?
I can tell you. You know what I'm saying? You have to be a part of the club. But I mean, it's a great feeling. I feel like it's really good defensively. I have my teammate. Shit. You got me?
I don't even know. You got 10 blocks, bro. I don't know.
We leave it over there for sure.
Flory, did you have a favorite block out of the bunch?
During the game?
Yeah.
I feel like I have one. I like trying to block with my left hand, but he's a guard, so he's pretty skilled trying to do like some funky stuff with his hand. So I shot with my right hand, swipe it. I think that's that one for sure.
What do you guys think of Peterson's one-handed dunk?
I was shocked, but I wasn't shocked to see it. He's so athletic; he could turn it on at any time. But I don't know why he jumped at the end.
Now that this game is over, what do you think about the matchup against the #1 team as long as they win today on Monday?
It's gonna be a good game. You know, we're not trying to make it any bigger, any higher, any lower than any game what it's supposed to be, but they're a good team coming in, and you know, we're rolling at the right time, so we're definitely trying to get that W.
Trey Melvin goes down for a little bit in that first half, and then he comes back, forces a turnover, gets a layup. Just how much has he been a spark of energy for you guys?
Man, him and Flo are like the heart and soul of our team. They're like our energy. We go off them. So, you know, he coming back in, you immediately felt his presence. You know, that's kind of him to a T.
Flory, after Monday night's win, you said you gave Darryn a certain compliment. Did he have a certain compliment for you after today's win?
Oh, you know, it was pretty quick. I think we got, like, you know, want to do stuff and I want to hear, but we haven't really talked since. But yeah, I appreciate you got something for me when I get back, for sure. Something similar to what I said last time.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, fellas.
That's KU players at the podium post-game, 71-59. Obviously, the quick turnaround, we don't get to see a separate podium press conference previewing Arizona, but we'll have Bill Self post-game later in the show, and of course, he'll give a soundbite or two on the big game tonight, 8 o'clock, Big Monday in Allen Fieldhouse. And before we preview KU Arizona, we're going to hear from Coach Self, but got to do our Case of the Mondays segment.
Got to.
As per tradition. That's coming up next, ESPN Kansas City and KansasNation.com. Well, if you're having a case of the Mondays out there, I remind you that there's a basketball game going on tonight at Allen Fieldhouse that may perk you up.
When?
Hopefully about 10:20 tonight, we are on cloud 9
Certainly
as
hope so.
KU and Arizona going to do battle. Arizona, #1 in the country. They have not lost this season. Of course, viewed as the #1 overall seed across various bracketologies. So very exciting. But also, if you're having a case of the Mondays, maybe you need to check out Game Day Men's Health Lawrence.
That's a great segue, Sean. I would love to tell you about Game Day Men's Health in Lawrence. Check them out. Be sure to get yourselves checked out. If you don't have the energy to go to the gym, do a good job at work, spend time with your family, I urge you to go get yourselves checked out at Game Day Men's Health. The first visit, 100% complimentary. It doesn't get better than that. You literally have to do, you go in there, they take your blood, they tell you if you're doing okay, and they tell you if there is something wrong, then they're going to do everything that they can to make sure to get you back in the game at Game Day Men's Health. Plus, it's a plush man cave-like setting. I like the word plush. It is. That's, you know, I walked in there for the first time and I said, you know what? Plush.
This is plush.
This is plush. It's a plush man cave-like setting. It's a great place to go. They don't feel like a doctor's office, but it is a fully fledged medical clinic. So go get yourselves checked out at Game Day Men's Health.
Mitch Bales and his team, first visit, as Dan said, completely complimentary. No reason to not spend 20 minutes over there. You get results after a 3-step process that includes a blood draw. You can talk about your results with your practitioner and go from there if you feel like you need a little boost in your life. All right, Case of the Mondays segment. We're going to hear from Bill Self next segment, and then we're going to have our big preview, KU in Arizona, so stay tuned for that. But first, Dan, take us around the world of sports. Football season is over.
Yes. I always get sad on the Monday after the Super Bowl, but then usually I'll see a John Rothstein video that gets me fired up again. That's it. I think John Rothstein's kind of a dork.
He's changed. That's what's bothered me.
That's the thing. It's not pure anymore.
Yeah,
it used to be
he's
pure.
Changed. Yeah.
Yes. Now it's gotten hacky. It's gotten a little gimmicky. But I will say he came out with a video and he was like, "Get ready to come on the greatest stretch in sports in this year, as you know, we're counting down 5 weeks away until there is a bracket." And
Let's go.
I know how much you love brackets.
Let's go.
It actually did get me fired up.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
You know what?
No, totally.
I'm in now.
Again, my thing with Rothstein is just, I hope that Kansas has a really fantastic deep run in March, and somebody can send him a screenshot of him with 32 next to Kansas' name, because that's where he had Kansas ranked in the Rothstein 45 before the season, 32nd.
That's right.
He also said, with or without Darryn Peterson, Kansas is not a top 6 team in the Big 12. Let's see how BYU is doing right now, and Texas Tech, because those are teams that they've got above. But yes, I love his passion for college basketball.
Again, I don't think it's pure anymore. I think it used to be like, it was always great because, like, you know, Super Bowl Sunday would be here and he'd be like, "Oh man, this Lehigh game is really fun." And you're like, that's fun. But then, like, everyone started getting into it, and then he started leaning into it, and he started doing it kind of as a gimmick instead of, and it wasn't pure anymore.
He also, for whatever reason, you know, he's got on Twitter different things for different coaches.
Yeah.
He used to have one for Bill Self.
What was
and he
it?
stopped doing that.
Yeah, he doesn't have one anymore.
BMF. It was Bill Self, BMF. And now now he'll post how Kansas survives or Kansas is not a top. I'm like, what happened to the Bill Self one? He's got the Nate Oates and he's got Mark Pope keeping the faith and all sorts of other ones. And he had the Bill Self one. I don't know what happened. He sold shirts, I think.
My favorite one was VCU, more life-changing than a 10-day trip to Europe.
And then,
And then what was it? It was West Virginia tougher than a long weekend at your in-laws?
Yeah,
that was a good one too. But yeah, football, it's over. Seattle Seahawks are Super Bowl 60 champions out in San Francisco. It's Case of the Monday for everyone who watched the Super Bowl because it stunk. It was kind of that game sucked.
12-0 at the end of the third quarter. And my brother happened to have the 2 and the 0 for squares. I know.
Of course.
But then he had the audacity to complain about how apparently it was a really popular square, so he didn't get as much money as he thought or something. I don't know. I was like, dude, you had a 2 and a 0, and somehow 12-0 happened.
That's insane.
At the end of the third quarter.
There was legitimately a point in the Super Bowl about halfway through the third quarter where I was saying, like, you have to give the MVP to Jason Myers, the kicker.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, Seattle's defense was good, but like you said, it was kind of a group effort.
Yeah, but there wasn't one guy who stood out above the rest, though.
Right.
It was a group effort.
It was 12-0, and then in the fourth quarter, Seahawks scored 17, Pats scored 13.
Yeah,
and there was one penalty flag away from an overhitting in this game.
Yeah.
Kenneth Walker, the overhead hit, but they called a hold. Somehow it goes under 45.5. But yeah, had that hold not been called, it would have been over, despite the fact that it was like, what was it, 9-0 at halftime?
Right. We were texting during the game, and you were like, man, bet the mortgage on the under. And then all of a sudden,
it's like, oh my God, 30 points in the fourth quarter could have been more. But not the greatest Super Bowl of all time.
No.
I told my wife, I was like, this is how long we've been dating. We have been dating that now this is the second time we're watching the Seahawks and the Patriots face each other in the Super Bowl. So I think that was eye-opening.
You are old.
But yeah, football's over.
Is this the most
Chiefs
forgettable? Is this the most forgettable Super Bowl?
No, man. There have been like
Patriots
13-3. Patriots Rams.
Yeah, that
was bad.
stunk.
Dude, okay. No disrespect to Brian Haney or Shreyas Laddha. Drake May, wow. What a terrible performance. He obviously put up some numbers in the fourth quarter, but poop.
He's bad.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I mean,
they were. There
were a lot of people. Obviously, again, fourth quarter, maybe he salvaged a little bit of the haters, but all over social media, they're saying this dude almost won the MVP.
They were getting in my ear because I bet on Drake May's under.
Did it hit? I mean,
of course
he ended up with like 240 yards or something.
No, I think the under hit. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it did.
Now he's not sure. He's gonna have to look it up.
I gotta look. I didn't win. By the way, I was on a streak where I had won a lot of money on each individual Super Bowl. This one, I did not. I did not win. I don't think I won any money.
That breaks our heart.
So I know it does. We'll do a little bit more Super Bowl talk in the last segment, and maybe even tomorrow we can potentially kind of expand on it a little bit more. But shout out to Kenneth Walker, Michigan State legend, winning Super Bowl MVP. I had his under in yards, and it hit in the second quarter.
How about that?
And the over hit in the second quarter, so that was awesome. Rashid Shaheed did not score a touchdown, let alone the first. So that also broke
close
my
to
heart
having
a
no
little
touchdowns.
bit. I know. That's the thing. You went all the way up until the third quarter, and I was like, I'm still in this. This is crazy. Also, case of the Mondays for the Dallas Cowboys because DeMarcus Lawrence is a Super Bowl champion. And DeMarcus Lawrence, by the way, 33 years old. I thought he was older. He feels like an old guy. He was so good with the Cowboys like 10 years ago. He left the Cowboys because he, quote, knew he'd never win a Super Bowl there.
Great choice.
And then he goes to Seahawks and wins a Super Bowl. Right away. I mean, Cowboys fans, I actually like vaguely remember this happening. Where like Cowboys fans were like really upset about that.
Yeah.
They're like, you're leaving you think you can never win a Super Bowl here? Oh, look at you. Now you're with the Seahawks. Oh, good luck, buddy. And then he wins the Super Bowl.
Yeah. I guess I was going to say this later, but the other thing that bothered me is they did a lot of, they being Tirico and Collinsworth, talking about Drake May and Seattle defense. Seattle defense obviously was a big story, but like with 30 seconds left, I think somebody told him, hey, say something about Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
They weren't talking about Sam Darnold at all,
Not
and
at
he's
all.
the one who wins the Super Bowl.
Well, he didn't have a good game.
He is the first. I mean, he was solid. He actually was more elusive than I thought. But man, that first miss when he had an elusive play and then missed JSN first touchdown score.
Oh, and Rashid Shaheed had his guy stacked too.
Yeah, he needed to leave that a little further. But yeah,
That one.
first QB in the 2018 draft class, which was stacked to win
Man,
the
I
Super
thought it was going to
Bowl.
be Josh Rosen.
Yeah, but yeah, how about the law firm of Lawrence, Cabledew, and Brown?
Yeah.
All winning the Super Bowl. Good for them. Good for them.
Congratulations to all of you guys. Also, Case of the Mondays for me, not only because they lost money on the Super Bowl, but also there was a wedding during halftime.
Really?
Yes. Did you see this?
I was.
Did you watch the Kid Rock one?
So no, I was playing Play-Doh during halftime, and my wife was watching the Bad Bunny. But yeah,
Nice. I was
there's a
locked
wedding.
in. By the way, didn't understand a word of it, but I was jamming. It was fun. But there was a wedding during the Super Bowl. It was or during the halftime show. So now I have to live up to that hype because Piper saw that.
that's
She
a
goes,
bummer. She
"Why
said,
didn't-
"Oh, that'd be fun."
Why aren't we having our wedding at the Super Bowl? I was
take
like, I
me to
don't
the
have $1
Super Bowl.
million. That's
Right.
why.
Hey, she chose June 6th, man.
She didn't.
There's no football going on June
That's
6th.
true.
Which
Case
is
of the
smart,
Monday-
by the way.
That is very
Shout
smart.
out to you.
Dude, of course. Summer wedding. I mean,
Yes.
in our line of work, you got to have a summer wedding.
Mike McDonald's 38. God,
When is your anniversary?
May 29th.
Okay, yeah. So look at you.
Look at that.
Right there.
How
Right
about
at the
that?
beginning of summer. Case of Mondays for Tony Jones. He's a writer for the 76ers. So Tony Jones, this is actually so insane. We do have a picture of this. Tony Jones, I got to pull up this tweet. So he said this T-shirt, he put a picture of the T-shirt. I have a picture of his computer. So the T-shirt cannon at the 76ers Suns game in the fourth quarter killed my laptop. He said it hit my computer, then the computer hit my face. It scratched my beloved laptop clear across the screen. No story from me tonight. Then someone said, computer hit you in the face. Are there bars of soap rolled in that shirt? And then he posted this picture of his computer. Do you have how does a T-shirt do that?
Those things pack some punch, man.
They do. I mean,
Can you imagine? Can you imagine how angry Jordan Gusky would be if this happened to him at a KU game?
Imagine having your boss. Imagine
Right.
the editor of the Capital Journal or Lawrence Shore
Dog
World.
ate my homework.
Henry exactly. Hey, sorry, I'm not gonna get the story out. A T-shirt gun destroyed my computer.
Yeah.
Right. Sure.
I think that I poke fun at Gusky. I think there's somebody else who'd probably be even more upset and maybe not handle that well on the KU beat. All right, the MAAC, Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference.
That sounds right.
They are changing their name.
They are changing their name, which I think I might have brought this up to you. Is the MAAC, the MAAC, is that what they call it? Do they call it the MAC?
I don't know. Yeah, I always called it the MAC.
Yeah.
No Maction.
No Maction. It's the second best Mac and also the worst Mac. They're changing their name. It's apparently they're making a new logo and they're changing the name obviously because it gets confusing. You have the MAC, the MAC, the Mid-America Conference, and then you have the MAAC, which is the Metro Atlantic American or Metro Atlantic.
Maybe it's the Mid-Atlantic.
Mid-Atlantic, maybe.
Yeah.
So, by the way, this is great. Mid-Major Madness on Twitter. One of my favorite follows, by the way. They had a prompt. They're like, what should people change it to? And there was a lot of really good ones. People were saying the Metro Mid-Atlantic American Athletic College Conference, the double M, triple A, double C.
That's good.
I kind of like that one. I like the Big Meast.
Yeah, anything that does not sound the same as any other conference when you say it out loud.
Right.
That's good.
Westchester Atlantic Circuit, the WAC. There's a lot of good ones on there. The Northeastern Conference, the NEC, which is also another.
Yes.
I just you cannot. It's so stupid. The NAAC is just the worst name. Legitimately, what are they going to change?
I have no clue. Yeah, that's
because there's the MAC, there's the MAC, and then there's the MEAC.
right.
Are they going to keep the M and the A there?
It's good to get rid of the the AA because you've already got the Mac.
Yeah, I know. I hate it.
Yeah.
I absolutely hate it. But there's also because
Very curious as to how that goes.
that's true. But shout out to the Mac.
Shout out to UMBC, who's a part of the MAC, who won
right.
the first ever victory for 16 seed over 1.
Shout out to that Kyle guy. Stocks down for anybody who thinks that betting markets are fair. Did you see this? So apparently, there's been a lot. I don't think we've talked about this on the show, but it's been a point of contention on like ESPN. Apparently, Giannis had
Antetokounmpo.
Giannis Antetokounmpo. There had been a lot of rumors about like where he was going and he's going to be gone, and he was being like, posting like these like vague posts about him leaving, all this different kind of stuff. So apparently, this is from Reddit CFB. Giannis apparently this is what the tweet says. Giannis made up a rumor that he would leave the Bucks, causing people to bet a total of $23 million as to whether/where he would go on Kalshi, which is a betting app, an unregulated gambling insider trading platform. Well, turns out, guess what? Giannis is staying in Milwaukee, and also guess what? That same day, Giannis came out and said that he is a Kalshi shareholder.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Interesting.
That's not a good look at all.
He's going to get dragged for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's like, how do you... you're a shareholder in a company that bet $23 million on where you were going to go. I mean, that's got to be... I mean, that's just insane. Like, you knew all along. You're also a shareholder. You're seeing all this money move around, and now you just stand.
Yeah.
You can't do that. This is like illegal. Like, there needs to be repercussions for this.
We'll see. I mean, yeah, I don't really know what to think of it. That's, I don't know. Because it was just a rumor, I feel like there's probably a loophole
Sure,
to get
I'm
out
sure
of it
there is.
if you're him, but it'll
Whatever.
probably fade into the abyss.
Yeah, man. Case of Mondays for Ryan Russillo. Not going to spend too much time on this. He posted a naughty picture on his Instagram story, and it stayed up for 4 hours.
Yeah.
Apparently, he was getting a little spicy with the lady friend. He's, I mean, Ryan Russillo. I love Ryan Russillo. I love his like sense of humor. He's a very dry sense of humor. Also, most notably, like an ultra bachelor. Like
Right.
he's never been married. He has a boat. Posted a naughty picture,
A naughty photo.
And
A
then
la Shannon Sharp.
and then he comes out and says he was hacked.
All right. Well, of course he's going to say he's hacked. I mean,
Okay.
you got to do that, right?
Sure.
I mean, that's a classic.
Yeah.
That's a classic excuse.
He was hacked. I get it. Sure. Case of the Mondays for redemption story lovers. Lindsey Vonn. Man,
God, that
that's
was heartbreaking,
sad.
man.
That's really sad.
God.
She tears her ACL. Was it January 30th or whatever? Decides, you know what? I'm not getting the surgery. I'm coming back, and I'm just going to compete at the Winter Olympics. You go, yes, that's amazing. 13 seconds into her run, hits a flag.
Yeah.
Breaks her leg.
Yeah.
Completely unrelated, by the way, to the ACL. She just made the turn weird. Her arm hit the flag. She crashes.
But she probably made the turn weird because, I mean, you have to think it was a
could be.
factor.
Yeah,
at
I'm
some
sure it
front.
was.
But God, that's awful, man.
I know that really sucks. But I mean, dude, she did it. Look, I see people saying online like, "Oh, how negligent of her! Like that's insane. She shouldn't have done that." I mean, she's like one of those psycho competitive like Kobe Bryant,
you trained
Darryn Peterson
all
guy.
your
Yeah.
life for this.
Exactly.
I mean,
And like she had nothing else to prove, but she still wanted to do it, which I think is commendable. So really sad. She got airlifted and she had to have surgery. She broke her leg.
Ugh.
I know. Really, really unfortunate. I'm going to end on this one. I don't know a lot about this. Sean, you might know a little bit more about this. I don't know if this was happening when you were in school, but Case of the Mondays for KU campers. Apparently there's a conspiracy going around. I guess there's a frat, Zeta Beta Tau. Is that the frat? ZBT.
okay.
Apparently, they are the ones who are in charge of running the entire KU camping.
Okay. And that's
Entirely.
changed. That's changed. It used to be a small group of individuals rather than a full
Okay.
camping.
So it's the essentially this group of guys who
I was
are
wondering
in
who still
ZBT.
Okay, I was wondering who ran it.
Right. Well, that's the thing. People are getting upset because apparently ZBT is fixing it to where all of a sudden every single
Pulling a Giannis.
every single time hey, look, ZBT's in the front row or front 2 rows. Oh,
Interesting.
Hey, instead of having 30 people in their group, all of a sudden there's 60 people in their group, and they're not. And so I'm seeing a lot of pushback on Twitter.
Really?
For these ZBT guys.
Okay, interesting. I haven't seen that. I haven't been as entrenched. Are they going to be in the front row tonight?
I don't know. Well, so that's the thing. They were number 3 for this game.
Yeah.
And the ZBT camping group.
What's their name? Is it appropriate?
Too Big to Rig.
Huh.
Which,
how about that?
Interesting.
Very interesting.
A little bit of a.
It gets deeper.
It does. That's interesting. I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see who the camping group of the game is tonight when Eric Danielson, shout out by the way, announces the camping group of the game in the front row. But yeah, Kansas, Arizona tonight, 8 o'clock, 6:30 with the Crimson and Blue Show across the Jayhawk Radio Network. We're going to hear from Bill Self postgame next segment and then preview that big top 10 matchup. Rock Chalk Sports rolls on. KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City. Well, KU took care of business on Saturday, knocking off Utah 71-59. 7 straight wins in Big 12 play for the Jayhawks. And the toughest task, it's tonight. I was going to say this is the toughest week on the schedule, but I mean, you got Arizona and at Iowa State. You also have a week where you have Houston and at Arizona. So
let's just go ahead and say it's the toughest month of the year.
Yeah, toughest month, certainly. It's also the shortest month of the year. Did you know that? February? Crazy. We also have a tough matchup that it's just bugging me. It's in the back of my mind, that game at Oklahoma State on February 18th. Oklahoma State's on the bubble right now. They're like in the play-in.
40.
In the play-in game. I know, I'm just saying it's in the middle of all these other big time built up. BYU, by the way, that was a huge win when Kansas got it, and now they keep losing. So I guess that win's getting worse and worse. They've got 5 losses. They're 5-5.
Yeah, time is important. I think when Kansas won that game,
right?
I think if Kansas wins that game, let's say it's on next Saturday, and BYU loses again, it's not as impressive of a win.
Yeah.
So, looks good for Kansas now.
BYU is in a rut. They'll get it back, in my opinion. But they're
good.
They're in a little bit of a rut right now. Kansas is in a good spot in terms of the standings. KU and Iowa State both have 2 losses. Houston, who won at BYU, they're 9-1, and Arizona's 10-0. Texas Tech is 7-3, so they're in the 5th spot right now in the Big 12. And then everybody else has at least 5 losses.
Yeah.
So Kansas, who has 1 fewer loss right now than Texas Tech, also has the tiebreaker over Texas Tech heads up, is in a good spot to not start the Big 12 tournament until Thursday. Because if you're a top 4 seed, which Kansas is in a pretty good spot right now, then you don't start the Big 12 tournament until Thursday. Obviously, we grew accustomed to that for quite some time. But a lot of tough games left on Kansas' schedule, so we have to see where we're at. And again, there's going to be a lot of build-up for this game tonight, as there should be, but it's the biggest game until Saturday when KU goes to Iowa State, right? So see what happens tonight, but hopefully it's a fun one. Hey, got to tell you about Custom Lawns and Landscape. Spring lawns don't happen by accident. They're built in the winter. February, one of the key months for soil treatments, pre-emergence, and protecting trees and shrubs from the cold. Custom Lawn and Landscape, they're scheduling their winter services now, so give them a call as spots are limited. You can also schedule online at customlawn.com. Custom Lawn and Landscape, better lawns start early. Again, it's customlawn.com. Let's go to the Allen Fieldhouse Media Room. Bill Self, postgame, KU's 12-point win over Utah.
Just wondered overall what you thought today, first half, second half, and then obviously Flory had a big game.
Yeah, I thought Flory was our best player, and by far, what do you have, 17 and 10 and 7, and 3 assists, and so yeah, he was good. But other than that, I just thought average at best. Not the same energy, not the attention to detail. We shot it miserably, from beyond the arc. Defense wasn't bad. They screwed us up on a I think 4 slips they got 8 points off of, but for the most part, defense wasn't bad. I thought Bryson and Flory both did a good job when they were switched on the guards, but it wasn't a great effort by any means. But we got through it, and now we'll focus on Monday, which the guys I think were focused on Monday, this past Tuesday. So, but we got through it, and I'm happy about that. But we didn't play very well.
Bill, with Flory and his development, especially avoiding fouls, what went into that? Conversations, work? Can you drill it? How has he done such a better job this year of staying away from fouls, especially on a night when he can have?
I actually think, guys are stubborn, and and everybody thinks, we all do as humans, we think that we know more about what we should be doing than what somebody else should be telling us to do. Flory was a gambler, and now he doesn't lunge. He stays down. He plays to his length, and I think he's figured out that way is far better for him and us. When before you tell a guy, hey, don't go for the steal, don't do this, just be sound. In their mind, what they hear is go for the steal. They don't hear the don't. So he's doing a much better job with that.
Is it the role? Is it related to the role, you think, as far as just?
I don't know. I think, my opinion, the BYU game was great for us because it gave Flory a chance to guard a guy that's on the national stage, and then they're either going to talk about him or they're going to talk about Flory. And I think there was numerous opportunities where he made himself look good by doing that, and it's kind of energized him a little bit, and then he was the same way at Tech, and then he was the same way today.
Melvin had to come out of the game, obviously landing pretty hard. Then he comes back, hits a layup. Just talk about kind of his toughness and what you saw of him today.
Well, he got 6 stitches, under his chin. So is that toughness, or is that you have to get it stitched up? So I love him. I think the best thing he did when he came back in, he scored and then immediately forced a turnover too. So and when we were just duds out there, we need him for his energy. So yeah, he's a good competitor, no doubt.
Arizona's up 20, so I'm assuming they're rolling here undefeated. What stands out about them? And I know it's just one game, but is it not a statement game, but is Monday big?
Monday is the most fun game that we would have had so far this year, and hopefully there's much bigger games later on than this game. So, but to date, it'll be the biggest. They're men, they dominate people 12 foot and in. We got to play, bigger. We got to play tougher. We got to play stronger. Got to play smarter, and then they guard. And so we got to give them something to defend on the other end. But it'll be a fun game. It'll be a fun atmosphere. Only one day to prep. But hopefully we can figure something out to at least slow them down.
What did you think of Peterson today and the direction how he's been playing this week?
I didn't think he had a good week. Thought he was unbelievable against BYU for a half, and Texas Tech got through it today. Got through it, but there wasn't much pop or energy like there needs to be. So he's got to be a lot better. We all do.
How do you coach that, or how do you get that pop of energy out of him?
Well, I think today, don't you think Trey had the same thing, or everybody had the same thing. But when other teams are geeked up to not let you catch it and that kind of stuff, you got to play at a different energy level to make sure that you can free yourself to do that. And I didn't think we did that very well today. But it's also, he also played 33 minutes, which is very encouraging, because the last 2 games, if I'm not mistaken, he played 33 both games. So that's great.
Phil, did you do anything in the last week to get some early look at Arizona, and what does tomorrow look like for you guys?
We practiced for Arizona this past Wednesday, but it wasn't, serious. But how we're going to guard the post, how you're going to guard ball screens, different things. But we'll have something in place, obviously by the time we work out tomorrow. But we'll practice 30 minutes tomorrow and let it roll on Monday.
Coach, when you look back at that loss that you had to West Virginia, now you guys are on a 7-0, win streak in conference play. Did that game in Morgantown reveal anything, about this team?
That we weren't very good. I think that's probably what it revealed as much as anything. We didn't guard anybody the first 10 days of conference season. So we didn't guard anybody at UCF. We didn't guard TCU, and we didn't guard West Virginia. And the thing about it is, when you're playing, everybody wants to play well, but the key to having good seasons and great seasons is making sure the other team doesn't play well. And we didn't do that there for about 10 days. We've been quite a bit better since then.
What was going through your mind late in the first half when Omar was already out, Melvin goes to the locker room, and then 3 guys each get their second foul?
And I'm thinking, okay, now what are we going to have DP the second half? Yeah, I was thinking that. I didn't think the first half went the way we wanted it to. I felt like, Trey missed 2 bunnies. I mean, layups. We didn't get to the free throw line. There were some things that happened that I even though we were up 7, we could have been up 12. Things that if we've handled some situations better. But and you could also say they could have cut it closer too, I guess, on a couple of different situations. But I didn't feel great at halftime. But when Mel came back and I knew DP was good to go, I just felt like that we're in decent shape now.
Were there any signs during the week that some of the guys might have been looking ahead to Arizona?
I don't think signs. I mean, you mean like holding them?
As a coach?
No. I think our energy level this past week wasn't what it needs to be. So that could be part of it. But you hear this expression all the time, trap game or whatever, and mature teams don't have trap games. It's human nature in some ways, but mature teams enjoy playing, every day. And I mean, what a day to play. Saturday, sun through the windows. It was perfect day to play. We got to be more mature and handle those situations better.
What do you think of Bradley and their 3 freshman starters?
And Awaka? Yeah, they're terrific. They got a great team. They played a good schedule. Had some impressive wins away from their building, and they're tough and strong, and their big guy, is we hadn't even talked about him. He's a stud, and whenever you can let Vasir get away because you got another guy back there that they feel probably has every bit of the upside or whatever, then they're pretty talented.
Darryn's dunk, what'd you think of it?
Yeah, I thought it was nice. Yeah, I thought it was an explosive play, but the best thing about it, he was able to explode like that after 27 minutes or whatever. So.
Bill, after Monday night's win, you called Flory the best defender in America. Is it nice when you make a statement like that and he follows it up with 7 blocks today?
Yeah, and it's not just 7 blocks, it's switching. How many times did their guards, 2 or 3, get off a 3 on him or whatever? Yeah, he's doing a good job. Of course, it's going to be, it needs to be front and center, obviously, on Monday. But, yeah, he's doing great. He's doing great.
Bill, Darryn's played a lot more in the last few games. Has it been improving situation with cramps, or is it too early to tell, or is he just kind of playing through it a little more?
No, I don't. He's not having them. Yeah. So I don't see. I haven't been told anything that he's had anything the last 2 games.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, guys.
That's Bill Self post-game. KU defeats Utah, and now, we've gotten past that. We're done talking about it. It's all about the Hawks and the Wildcats tonight inside the Fog. Got some great numbers and a great breakdown of Arizona right after this. Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City. Rock Chalk Sports live in the Kansas Nation studio. We are KansasNation.com, the place to be for all coverage of KU athletics. Elijah Schmidt runs the operations here alongside Dan Courtwright. I am Sean Kellerman. Thanks for joining us on Sports Radio 810 WHB Kansas City and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM as we break down this top 10 matchup, Kansas and Arizona. The Wildcats are number 1 in the country. Undefeated entering the Fog tonight. Should be a lot of fun. Coverage will start here very shortly with the Crimson and Blue Show on the Jayhawk Radio Network. But yes, we are downtown Lawrence on Mass Street, Kansas Nation. We've got a great video podcast studio, private event space, great place to watch a game, and thrilled to be here, thrilled to be previewing this big matchup. KansasNation.com and all of our socials are the place to be.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got a big game coming up tonight. Be sure to check it out everywhere on your social media platforms at The Kansas Nation on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, Facebook, Kansas Nation, and check out our YouTube page as well. That's where all of our shows are going to be. We have a number of different shows, including but not limited to Rock Chalk Sports with Sean Kellerman tonight, every weekday from 4 to 6 on KansasNation.com, and then the YouTube video gets on right after that. Then we also have Haney and the Hawks. The latest episode just came out. He sat down with Paul Pierce and Greg Gurley, two Jayhawk legends.
How about that?
I think they're in
those two combined for a lot of points.
Same stratosphere. Paul Pierce and Greg Gurley. Greg Gurley obviously was helping out with the interview with Brian Haney, but a really great interview, so be sure to check that out. Like I said, Haney and the Hawks brings on a ton of different KU legends. Also have the Timeout with Tyshawn Taylor podcast hosted by Rock. Really great podcast. T-Rob and Mario Little were on that last episode as well. So a lot of star names on Kansas Nation, the best place to get your KU coverage. So be sure to check that out and check us out. Downtown Lawrence, like Sean said, 916 Mass Street. Have a beautiful state-of-the-art facility here with a podcast studio and a bar and a pool table and a golden tee. It's just the best place to come check it out. So be sure to check out Kansas Nation, all things KU related.
Yeah, Kansas Nation Podcast Network. In addition to those, we have the Jayhawker Podcast, where Travis Goff actually sat down with our Nate Bukaty. So KU Director of Athletics and Vice Chancellor Travis Goff is on the most recent episode of the Jayhawker. But yeah, Kansas Nation Podcast Network. You can catch everything on our YouTube page, like Dan said, or KansasNation.com. Thanks for everybody joining us in Kansas City and Wichita on Sports Radio 810 WHB, ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. Let's get into this. The AP poll came out a little bit earlier today. Dan, as expected, KU jumps up into the top 10. They are number 9 in the country. Arizona, as expected, they hold serve at number 1. Roll through the top 10 really quick. Arizona is number 1. Michigan is number 2. Houston is number 3. Duke at 4. Iowa State at 5. You got 3 Big 12 teams in the top 5 and 4 in the top 10. UConn is 6, Nebraska 7, Illinois 8, Kansas 9, Michigan State 10. Texas Tech, they are 16th, and somehow BYU is still in the top 25 as they are ranked 22nd in the AP poll. All they've been doing recently is lose, but obviously they have a good resume. So the Big 12 with 6 in the top 25, but more impressive, they've got 4 in the top 10 and 3 in the top 5. Big 12 proving to be the premier conference yet again in college basketball. Let's talk about these Wildcats, though. Unbelievable atmosphere tonight expected at Allen Fieldhouse. Got to get through a few numbers off the jump before we talk individuals for Arizona, who Kansas will face twice here in a span of about 3 weeks. KU tonight will face the AP number 1 team for the 28th time. Kansas is 9-18 all time against number 1, 4-4 in the Bill Self era. In Lawrence, Kansas is 1-5 against the number 1 team in Lawrence, but 0-5 in Allen Fieldhouse. The last team to come to Lawrence as the number 1 ranked team in the AP poll was, interestingly enough, Arizona back in 2003. Kansas led this one big at half, ended up losing by 17 back on January 25th, 2003. That was Roy Williams' final year as the head coach here at Kansas. Some ridiculous Bill Self stats to get ahead of as well. First of all, Bill Self is 38-0 on Big Monday. So already something's got to give.
Pretty good.
Kansas 0-5 against the AP number 1 team at Allen Fieldhouse. Bill Self 38-0 on Big Monday at Allen Fieldhouse. I do want to point out, Kansas has faced the number 2 team in the AP poll a ton. Oklahoma, Ohio State, Baylor.
Iowa State this year.
Big time matchups. Iowa State this year, of course. And Kansas usually wins, right? But they just haven't faced the team ranked number 1 since before Coach got here, which is absolutely crazy. Again, 8 times not in Allen Fieldhouse has Kansas faced the number 1 team under Coach Self, and Kansas is 4-4. How about these stats? Under Bill Self, Kansas is 26-5 in Allen Fieldhouse against teams ranked higher than KU. 26-5 as the lower ranked team. Kansas is also 27-7 against AP top 10 games played at Allen Fieldhouse, including 1-1 this season. So Bill Self, who has numerous unbelievably impressive, arguably unfathomable stats, you can add those to the list in advance of Kansas welcoming the number 1 and undefeated Wildcats tonight. KU, this particular season, they're ranked 13 in the net, which is 4th in the Big 12, behind those 3 teams that I mentioned that are in the top 5 in the AP poll. KU's strength of schedule is number 3 in the country, which is 1st in the Big 12. Only Alabama and Auburn have a stronger strength of schedule. Kansas on an uptick. They've won 7 consecutive games. And now Arizona, who I guess you can say they're on an uptick because they've won 23 consecutive games. Dan, they're coming in expecting a great atmosphere. Tommy Lloyd saying after Arizona beat Oklahoma State in Tucson on Saturday, Jayhawk fans, he thinks, will be out for blood. It's going to be great scene tonight at Allen Fieldhouse and an important one for Kansas to get a great opportunity ahead of them.
Yeah, I think when you look back at the BYU game, that was probably the best atmosphere that I've seen, at least in the first half of that game for Kansas, maybe in my lifetime of games that I've been to. I wasn't at the 2016 triple overtime game against Oklahoma. I wasn't at a few of them. I wasn't at the Georgia Tech game back in 2005. But that was the best one that I had seen in person. I can only imagine that this one is going to be that much better. This is going to be the first time in a long time that the number 1 team in the nation is coming into Allen Fieldhouse. This is a top 10 matchup. It's Big Monday, late at night. Everybody is, they're coming off the Super Bowl. Now everybody's fully focused on basketball mode, right? So this is going to be a absolutely massive game. And I talked about this a little bit in the opening segment, but I'll talk about it now. Again, Arizona, they're feeling pressure right now. If I'm looking at this from an Arizona perspective, whether it be fans or whether it be players' perspective, the pressure's on. The pressure's absolutely on for these guys because they're 23-0. You're going into Allen Fieldhouse, the toughest place in America to play a basketball game, against a Kansas team who is consistently getting better and has the presumed number 1 overall draft pick in the NBA. Darryn Peterson, there's something about him. He absolutely thrives in these kinds of environments, right? We saw him last game against Utah, relatively bottled up. He did have 14 points in that game, didn't shoot the ball very well, and they had a relatively good game plan in terms of not allowing him to score. But you look at some of the other bigger games that he's had, right? You look at the BYU game. You look at the Texas Tech game where he hit those 2 massive threes at the end of the Tech game to not only tie but win the game for Kansas. He thrives in these kinds of environments. And you have the number 1 team coming in, and I'll get into some specifics in terms of, individual stats that we're going to roll through with Arizona. But this is going to be just a huge game. And I think that this is where a lot of these guys, Darryn Peterson, and you look down the roster, all of these guys thrive in this kind of environment.
Yeah, what a great chance for DP to showcase his ability again. He answered the call in a big way against A.J. DeBonta when BYU was in town, but now, man, you talk about a transition from football season. Yeah. If you want college basketball eyes open, you got it tonight on Big Monday, as this is a great time for college basketball to be in the limelight. We talked about this earlier, but now you've got 6, 7, 8 weeks, however many there are, until the national championship game on a Monday night in April. And college basketball is taking center stage tonight. They couldn't have asked for a better environment, a better game than number 9 Kansas and number 1 Arizona. Arizona has a lot of really good NBA players, NBA caliber players, I should say. Kansas, they've got those guys too. Flory Bidunga is proving that he's going to be an NBA player very shortly. Obviously, Darryn Peterson is expected to be an NBA star. I'll let you talk about Arizona from an individual standpoint. But first, Dan, they're 23-0. In 19 of their games, they've scored at least 80 points. They have scored fewer than 80 points only 4 times in their games. They scored 69 in a win against UCLA, 71 in a win against UConn. They also scored 68 in a win against San Diego State and 77 earlier in the conference season against Cincinnati. Otherwise, they're scoring upwards in the 80s. You look at Kansas during this 7-game win streak, with the exception of BYU, who had a really hot shooting second half, they scored 82. Kansas is holding teams to under 70 points in the other 6 games as a part of this 7-game win streak. you feel pretty confident that a Bill Self team on any given night is going to be able to score at least 70. So if you're holding teams to fewer than 70, that's pretty good. And that's going to get you a lot of wins. Are they going to be able to do that against Arizona? I'm not sure. It's going to be their toughest test. But to highlight their 23 wins this season, Arizona had a season-opening win against Florida, who was ranked number 3 in the country, 93-87. I mentioned the UCLA and UConn games. Cats beat the Bruins 69-65 and beat the Huskies in stores 71-67. They also have wins over number 20 Auburn. That was 97-68. And number 12, Alabama. That was 96-75.
Man.
Number 13, BYU in Provo. Arizona got them 86-83. So not only are they beating top 25 teams, but in certain cases, they're completely bludgeoning them. Zona, they're going to win a lot because they've got a lot of talent. Tell us about some of the individuals.
Yeah, I would love to. So at the top of it, and again, you kind of look at this Arizona game, we like to talk about the head of the snake. There's not really one particular head of the snake when you're looking at this Arizona team. Braden Burries has been phenomenal all year long. He's averaging 15.3 points per game. He is one of their more prolific guards that they have on this squad. 36.7% from the three-point line, pretty good. 50.8% from the field. The guy is also a nice facilitator as well. 2.7 assists per game, over 4.5 rebounds per game as well. So that's a pretty good stat line for a guard. But he is their leading scorer as of right now. Not a lot of turnovers. Also, they have a couple of, at least one really star freshman in Koa Pete. We saw Koa Pete in the first game of the year against Florida put up 30 points against the reigning national champions. He is really good. 6'8", 14.6 points per game. He's also shooting 35% from the three-point line, 56% from the field. Just a rock star, and he can do it kind of on a multi-level basis, right? He can do it down low, he can do it in the mid-range, and he can shoot those threes. So he's going to be a problem. Jaden Bradley, a familiar name from last year, he's averaging 13.8 points per game, shooting 42% from the three-point line, also averaging 4.5 assists per game. So he's really the main facilitator of the ball. A really impressive player who a lot of Kansas fans are going to remember from last year. They also have a big center. Obviously, you had Henry Vasar last year for Arizona transfer out, go to North Carolina. It's Motiejus Krivas. He's 7'2", averaging 8.3 rebounds per game, 11 points per game as well. He can also shoot the three too. So they have multi-level scorers at each position, which is just an impossible thing to even think about. Also, another guy that Kansas fans are going to know, Tobe Awaka. He's averaging 10 points per game and 10 rebounds per game. 9.9 points and 9.9 rebounds. I'm rounding up.
I'm sure he appreciates that.
Yeah, technically it's not a double-double, but he's pretty much averaging a double-double as of right now. So he's going to be a problem down low as well. You look at this team, not only do you see a good shooting team, but you see a good team down low. That backcourt, or that front court, excuse me, is probably one of the best front courts in the nation. You look at Koa Pete, 6'8". He plays the forward. Tobe Awaka plays the forward. You look at Krivas. He plays the center position. They have tall guys down low who are raking in those rebounds. It's going to be a tough matchup between Bryson Tiller, Flory Bidunga. I'm going to throw Trey White in there as well, because you're going to have somebody who's guarding Koa Pete kind of on the outside too. You probably think that's going to be a Trey White thing. Kansas is going to be switching 5 a lot. Flory Bidunga has proven that he's going to be able to do that, but it's going to be a tough matchup.
Yeah, it is. And Koa Pete, a guy who is projected to be a lottery pick. And again, it's not just him. Braden Burries, he's probably going to be a top 20, maybe a lottery pick as well. NBA talent. That's something that they have. That's something, honestly, that Kansas hasn't had the last couple years. They did have Johnny Furphy a few years ago, and Furphy is trying to carve out a role right now with the Indiana Pacers. He's been starting a lot, hasn't played a lot of minutes, but he's a starting player right now for the Indiana Pacers, who we know are not a very good team, but he's out there. Kansas, they haven't had guys of this caliber, but again, Kansas has guys just as Arizona does, particularly with Peterson and Bidunga, plus other guys on KU's roster that are going to be NBA players someday as well. So talent, that matters, and Kansas is going to do everything they can to make sure that the talent of Arizona is neutralized tonight at Allen Fieldhouse. Going to get into some team stats for Arizona. Sean Kellerman and Dan Courtwright rolling you through right now. We are at Kansas Nation on Mass Street and downtown Lawrence, a video podcast studio and private event space here. Great place. We absolutely love coming to work every day. Phenomenal setup here, TVs, games, that sort of thing. And again, we're all about Kansas at kansasnation.com and across our socials. Facebook, Kansas Nation, Twitter, TikTok, Instagram at The Kansas Nation. Give us a follow if you like the best coverage of all things Kansas athletics. It's not just basketball we talk women's basketball. We talk baseball and softball coming up. Obviously, we've got great football coverage as well. kansasnation.com, the place to go. Number 9, Kansas. Number 1, Arizona tonight in the Fog as Kansas looks to, for the first time ever, beat the number 1 team from the AP poll in Allen Fieldhouse. They're 0-5, spanning 70 years of Allen Fieldhouse. So hopefully they can get it done tonight. All right, Arizona. Talked about Burries and Pete, all those guys. They've got guys who started last year who can't crack the starting lineup. You look at a guy like Del Orso. He averages 8.3 points per game. He's one of their, on paper, best three-point shooters, but he hasn't shot it well this season. The big thing about Arizona from a team standpoint is they don't shoot a lot of threes.
Yeah.
And the one thing about Arizona that perhaps is an Achilles heel is they don't shoot a great percentage when they do shoot. So 12 feet and in, they're as dominant as any team in the country. But they're 15th in the conference, and I use conference stats this late in the season, in three-point field goal percentage as they're shooting from three just 32%. They don't shoot a lot of threes, so I don't think you have to worry about Arizona coming in and chucking up 35 threes. If they do, that's probably a good thing because that's not what they do best. But Arizona does so many things well. They're first in the league in scoring at 88 points per game. They're fifth in the league in scoring defense. They're first in the league in scoring margin at plus 18.5. They also, and this is my favorite stat regarding this game, lead the conference in field goal percentage at 51%. And they lead the conference in opponent field goal percentage at 38.1%. Kansas second in the conference in field goal percentage at 49.2%. Kansas second in the conference at opponent field goal percentage at 39.8%. So top 2 teams both offensively and defensively in the conference in terms of field goal percentage. I mentioned three-pointers, not really Arizona's game. Kansas is 4th in the league, shooting 35.4% from three. But you know what Arizona can do? They can guard the three. They lead the conference in opponent three-point field goal percentage at 29.5%. Arizona 7th in the league in free throw percentage. Kansas is 2nd. Zona also leads the Big 12 in rebounding margin at plus 11.8. Second in the conference is Iowa State at plus 6.9. Kansas has been susceptible to giving up offensive rebounds. Defensive rebounds, they've done better, but cleaning up the defensive glass is going to be crucial for Kansas, not allowing Arizona those second chance opportunities. And the last thing I'll say about Zona is they're second in the league in turnover margin at 1.9. By the way, second, 1.9. Oklahoma State is third at 1.2. Leading the conference in turnover margin is Houston at 6.9. Wow. Houston does not turn the ball over.
That's amazing.
But Arizona, top 1, top 2 at a lot of categories in the Big 12 Conference. I will say that. I just gave conference-only stats. As we talked about, Arizona has a lot of really good wins this year, but in conference play, they have not faced the best of the best. 6 of their next 7 games are against teams in the top 25, including 2 against Kansas. They've got Texas Tech in Tucson. They've got BYU in Tucson. They go to Houston. They've got Iowa State in Tucson. So really tough games coming up for Arizona. They've got a tough February as Kansas does, but still the stats speak for themselves. You are what your record says you are. That's the old saying in sports. And Arizona's 23-0 and 10-0 in conference play. They do a lot of things well.
That's the thing, you know, and I talked about the pressure that Arizona is probably feeling coming into this game. Like I said, you're coming into Allen Fieldhouse, the loudest arena in the world, the best place to play college basketball in the world, the best home court advantage in the world. But like you said, you are what your record says you are. They're still 23-0, and they've still beaten a lot of teams, right? And they do it soundly. They're such a sound team in terms of fundamentally, like you said, they don't turn the ball over. They don't need to shoot a lot of threes. They're really good at the defensive glass. They're really good on defense. You look at their KenPom rating right now, they're number 2 in KenPom. They have the 2nd best defense and the 6th best offense in the nation, right? Just for comparison, Kansas, we have the 7th best defense in the nation, but the 43rd best offense in the nation. And Kansas is coming off of a relatively bad offensive performance against Utah. Just on three-pointers alone, Kansas shot 16.7% from the three against Utah. You need to have your three-pointers fall. Now, the Utah game, we talked about this, was one of those ones where you just kind of had to get through, right? It felt like everybody was kind of looking at this game, and they're like, all right, well, Utah's coming into town. They're the worst team in the Big 12. Let's just get through this game, get a win, and then all of a sudden you can put all of your focus on Arizona. But it's a quick turnaround, and Kansas is coming off of a bad shooting performance. Can you fix that in a day? I think you can. I don't think that it's necessarily a problem. I just think it was kind of a weird game that Kansas played against Utah. I think it was a little bit sluggish at times. I think that they kind of understood that, hey, maybe you need to reserve a little bit of energy for this game coming up. But I think the atmosphere is going to be incredible. That's going to play a huge factor. Tommy Lloyd talked about that in a press conference, talking about coming into Kansas, how big of an opportunity that is for Arizona. And I think, you know, Kansas really needs to get off to a hot start in this game, try to get Arizona on their heels.
Bill Self has shortened the rotation in general to about 7 guys.
Yeah.
Hopefully Elmarko Jackson is back. We didn't mention that, but Elmarko Jackson didn't play against Utah, and Kansas is going to need that depth because Kansas played one of its best games of the season, start to finish, against Iowa State, back when they desperately needed a win, which started this 7-game win streak on January 13th. They did it with pretty much 7 guys. Elmarko Jackson and Jamari McDowell were the guys that came in off the bench. And you think back to that play that Elmarko made where he turned it over and then he jumped on the ball, prevented a fast break opportunity for Iowa State, ends up in a 3-pointer for Kansas. That's the type of tenacity Kansas is going to have. Understand the game against Utah Saturday was a little sleepy. To beat Arizona, who, like you said, has national championship type numbers, being top 6 in KenPom in both offense and defense, you're going to need that. You're going to need to shoot a better percentage from 3. I said earlier on Rock Chalk Sports today, if you're going to go just 3 of 18 from 3, do it against Utah and save some makes for Arizona. So that's going to be important as well. But you got to have the full 40-plus minute tenacity in this one. Again, hopefully Elmarko's back. And, important game. It's going to be one of those Allen Fieldhouse type games that Kansas is going to have to grind out, and hopefully the fans can be worth 1, 2, 3 points at the end. Other keys to the game, Dan, for Kansas picking up a win over number 1 Arizona.
Yeah, I brought it up. Obviously, get off to a hot start. Kansas didn't get off to a hot start against Utah, but you look at some of their other marquee wins that they've had. They got off to a hot start against BYU, against Baylor, against Iowa State. I think if Kansas can get a lot of those shots to fall, you know, some of the set plays that you have in order to be able to get the ball in the bucket, whether that be Bryson or Flory down low, whether that's a couple of threes here and there, get off to a hot start, get Arizona on their heels. Number 2, Flory Bidunga needs to stay out of foul trouble. I think it starts with him. This is a great front court that you're facing off against. You got Koa Pete, you got Tobe Awaka, and you got Krivos down low. Those guys are going to be raking in those rebounds. Flory Bidunga is really going to be the biggest key for this game. If he gets into foul trouble, we've talked about this kind of throughout the year. Where do you go? Right? Do you put Bryson at the 5, move Trey down to the 4, and then bring Elmarko in? If Elmarko's healthy, right? Or do you have Paul Mbia come in? Is he ready yet? You need Flory Bidunga out there on the floor to try to slow down that prolific front court that Arizona has. And then you have to be able to win the rebounding battle. It's going to be tough. That also ties into Flory Bidunga, A, not getting into foul trouble, and B, just playing really, really well. And then you have to hit your threes, right? I mean, this is going to be the most unanalytical answer that I have, but a 3 is worth more than 2. What does Arizona not do? They don't shoot a lot of threes. If Kansas is able to get hot from the 3-point line, if Darryn Peterson is able to put up, 3 or 4 threes, if Trey White gets hot, Jamari McDowell comes in and hits a few, Jaden Dawson, I'm looking at all these guys. You need to be able to hit those 3-pointers to maintain or stay in this game.
Yeah, that's going to be important, especially because despite Arizona not shooting or hitting a lot of threes, they score a ton of points.
They do.
So they're going to score a lot of possessions in this one, and hopefully Kansas can find the stroke from the perimeter. Going to be a good one tonight. Allen Fieldhouse, 8 o'clock tip-off. Number 9, Kansas. Number 1, Arizona. Crimson and Blue show across the Jayhawk Radio Network starts at 6:30. I want to thank everybody for listening on Sports Radio 810 WHB and ESPN Wichita 92.3 FM. We are Rock Chalk Sports. KansasNation.com is the place to be. If you're watching on KansasNation.com, more is coming up. KansasNation.com. Welcome back. Hey, we got to tell you about our new partners, Joslin's Jewelry. Locally owned for over 40 years, Gary Joslin and the entire Joslin family proud to have earned the trust of 3 generations of customers. They're the jewelry store you want to go to because they are honest. They treat you fair. There are so many new customers that go into Joslin's. We're quoted $400 to fix a ring somewhere else, and Joslin's can give it to them for under $200. So if you need a chain or other items fixed, they often can do it while you wait and at a very, very good price. Joslin's Jewelry, the jeweler you will recommend to friends and family because you can trust them over at Joslin's. Appreciate their partnership, and certainly Dan is in the jewelry game right now.
I am. Well, not anymore.
Well, no, you don't get to stop. You don't get to stop.
Yeah, we got to get a band for her.
And then you got anniversaries.
This is another thing. I got a band, by the way, a wedding band. Am I crazy for wanting to wear it now?
Yeah, I don't understand why you want to wear it now.
I don't know. I have it. I just want to wear it.
That's so funny that you've said that because not once did it, while I was engaged, cross my mind to
throw it on. I don't know. It's fun. I want to let all the ladies know that I'm taken.
Hey, you know what? Power to you. Love that.
But yes, go check out Joslin's Jewelry. They are great. Their customer service is fantastic. They'll make sure to get you some great deals as well. We need a wedding band for Piper, so we're actually going to go there. We haven't set up an appointment yet, but we are going to go to Joslin's Jewelry to try to pick that out. Also, now I got to worry about anniversaries and worry about necklaces.
Oh, it doesn't. Valentine's Day is coming up. That's the place to be.
Valentine's Day is coming up.
Joslin's Jewelry, 95th and Antioch. Hey, we're going to hear an exclusive post-game interview with David Lawrence and Darryn Peterson here shortly. But first, Dan, let's talk Kansas women's basketball, as it was the nightcap, if you will, of the doubleheader at Allen Fieldhouse, a rarity. But Kansas women played Cincinnati after the Kansas men defeated Utah, and the women made it 2-0, 80-71. The Jayhawks over the Bearcats. Shalia Davis, 28 points, just continues to be impressive. Upwards of 6,000 fans watched this game, so that was good to see as well. But Kansas needed the win. They're 15-10, 5-8 in Big 12 conference play. Davis, by the way, 11 20-plus point performances this season, 5 in the last 6 games. KU got some good contributions as well from Elle Evans, who hit 4 threes. Samaya Nichols, 16 points as well.
Yeah, I don't think it's come out yet, but you got to think Julia Davis is going to get 6 times in a row Big 12 freshman of the week.
She's been incredible.
She has just been awesome. 28 points, like you said, 8 rebounds, 10 for 14 from the field, 8 for 9 from free throw line, which is really good because free throws, I think, is maybe the one point in her game where I think she needs to improve a little bit, and she does get fouled a lot because it's hard to contain her down low. But it's good to see Elle Evans finally coming back into it. She went 4 for 6 from the three-point line. Kansas winds up shooting 47% from 3 against Cincinnati. A bad bottom-feeding Big 12 team in Cincinnati, but this is a good win for Kansas to kind of shift some momentum. As of right now, if I'm looking at this, probably the only way Kansas gets into the NCAA tournament is if they wind up winning the Big 12 tournament. But they have the talent to be able to do it.
So I talked to Stephen Davis, who, of course, calls the Kansas women's basketball games, and I said, all right, what needs to happen? And he gave a very Stephen Davis type response, which is win. Yeah. They got to keep winning. And, next up for the Kansas women is an opportunity in Lubbock against the top 25 Texas Tech team. Again, Texas Tech, a team who has completely turned around their women's program, seemingly, as they were the 14 seed in the Big 12 tournament last year. They actually knocked off Kansas, who was the 11 seed, and down both Elle Evans and Samaya Nichols last year in Kansas City in the opening round. Texas Tech, now a team in the top 25. 5 remaining games for KU. You're 5-8. If you get to 8-10, it's going to be a strong 8-10, according to Stephen Davis. So that would entail you have to beat Texas Tech at least once, and you got to win at Stillwater. So Texas Tech twice, and then Oklahoma State, who's not ranked but is a really good team, Kansas has to win 2 of those 3, plus you have to win at K-State, and you got to beat a bottom-feeding Houston team at home. If that happens, you can go to 8-10. Will you still need to do work in the Big 12 tournament? We're not sure, but to your point, Kansas does have the talent, and it's starting to come together. It's just piecing together these wins, learning how to win. They're not out of time yet. They've needed to get these last 2 wins, which they did, was important on the back end of that 3-game homestand. And now if you can steal one in Lubbock, that would be huge. Kansas has shown the ability to compete with the top-tier teams in the conference on the road. Almost beat Iowa State, almost beat TCU. Yeah. Hopefully they can get it done at Texas Tech.
That's the thing, is like you see the talent level, you see how they're playing against these top 25 teams, and you go, there's no way that they're losing these games. And it's just, Kansas has been on the bad end. I mean, you look at the losses. You have a 3-point loss here, a 5-point loss here, a 2-point loss here. It's just all of them are super close. Kansas just winds up on the losing end of them, but Kansas is on an uptick right now, and obviously there was a big turnout for the women's game after the men's game against Utah, which was really good to see. A lot of the students were there, which was awesome, obviously. But, you look just down the roster, you got Samaya, you got Jalea, you got Elle, who's really coming on right now. You got Lily Meister, who has been substantially improving her game down low. She had 14 points in this game, 8 rebounds as well. Libby Fandel, need more production out of her. You need more production out of Sanaya Copeland as well. Copeland, she does a really good job on the defensive end. She's just a pest. I think Henry, and I also said this too, the most annoying defender maybe in America is Sanaya Copeland, and she always does a fantastic job on the defensive side, but you need more offensive production, and I think that's where you get it out of Elle Evans coming off of the bench as of right now. But you need more production from some of your role players as well. You look down the line, like I said, Laya, she had 0. Reagan Williams only had 2. Brittany Harshaw only had 2. Nadira El Tayeb, 0 points. Libby Fandel, who started, only had 6 points. She really needs to figure it out as well. Keely Parks just not playing. She was injured early. Now she's not injured, but she's just not getting in the game. So you need more production out of everybody else, but you're getting all you can out of your star players as of right now.
KU softball had a 5-game swing in Tampa to start their season over the weekend. They played 5 games in 3 days. They defeated Bethune-Cookman and Illinois State, both in 5 innings, blowout wins for Kansas, but then struggled losing to USF 12-4 in 6 innings, and then losses as well to Michigan 4-2 and Florida 11-2. Next, Kansas will head to the FGCU softball complex in Fort Myers for a Tuesday tilt. That's going to be tomorrow at 4. And then back to Tampa for the Fonseca Memorial Tournament. Kansas softball will face Indiana State, Boston College, USF again, DePaul, and Yale. After that, to Boca Raton. So a lot of time in the Sunshine State for KU softball. Hopefully some more W's. We'll keep you up to date on everything going on that front. All right, Kansas and Arizona tonight on the men's basketball side. That is the big story. Number 9 KU, number 1 Arizona. Let's go to the locker room postgame. Our David Lawrence had an exclusive interview with Darryn Peterson, and here's that.
Darryn Peterson, it's great to have you. Congratulations, another win. What does that make of 8 wins in a row for Kansas? You guys are on quite a roll.
Yes, sir. We're on the roll right now. We haven't lost since our players' meeting, so let's keep getting wins.
I like that. Endorsing the players' meeting.
Yes, sir.
I want to ask you what happened in that one, but tonight it looked like, a little subdued for Kansas until you get the steal and that one-handed throwdown. You want to describe that to us?
Not the best game ever, so had an opportunity to kind of go blow some steam on the dunk, so I tried to go dunk it hard and won. So
yeah, off 2 feet.
Yeah, off 2.
So a little more meaningful there.
Yeah, got 1 off 1 against BYU, so try to pull out the 2-foot bounce today.
Yeah, yeah. We got thousands of fans driving home right now, hearing you maybe for the first time. Why don't you just describe the season, the frustrations, the highlights that you can think of?
I think it's been a great season so far. Both ups and downs, some losses, some injuries, but I think it's all going to pay off. We going into March next month, so I think we're moving in the right direction as a team.
Yeah, there's still a buzz about what happened in Lubbock, Texas. Not having the best of nights, but then the last minute 16, you make 2 of very difficult shots to steal the win.
Just me believing in the work that I put in. Like you said, I wasn't making many shots before, but I feel like the next shot's always going in. So my teammates believed in me, my coaches believed in me, and put those two up and made them both.
Yeah, Darryn Peterson joins us post game. It seems like at a given time you've got the ability just to jump higher and get a shot off when you need to.
Yeah, that's how I train like that. I train hard. So the games is kind of just showing my work I put in.
Yeah, and how about this team that you're with? It's they seem like a bunch of dogs that have shown a lot of toughness. How would you describe them?
Like you said, a whole bunch of dogs. We go out and compete every night. We're competitors and winners. So I think we got a group of guys that'll do anything they can to win every night.
And Flory, Bidunga, you said after the win in Lubbock, best defender out there tonight, 17-10, 7 blocks and 3 assists.
Yeah, I said it in Lubbock, best defender in the country, and he continues to prove it every night.
Yeah, and then Melvin Council gives a team so much toughness.
Yeah.
What's it like in the backcourt with him?
It's great. I think we're the best backcourt in the country. Definitely somebody I lean on, a senior guard that I can count on.
Yeah.
Call him Mr. Consistent.
Yeah, and it just so happens we play a pretty good team on Monday. We've been saying biggest game of the year several times, and the one after this might be the biggest game, but this will certainly be the biggest game going against #1 Arizona.
Yeah. Come Monday, we're going to be ready to compete. Today, the biggest focus was Utah today. So, but
well said.
Come Monday, we're going to have to battle and get a win against an undefeated team.
Have you checked out Arizona at all in past games?
I have, yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty good team.
Yeah.
Sure.
They got to compete with Kansas. What's it like playing in Allen Fieldhouse with 16,000 people screaming for you?
It's surreal. It's even better than I imagined when I came and watched on my visit. So it's just great to actually have a jersey on and be out there playing now for all the fans.
And then how about Hall of Fame Bill Self? It seems like you have a lot of confidence he's going to lead you in the right direction.
Yeah, for sure. That was part of the reason I chose Kansas, because I trusted him and trusted the staff.
Yeah, yeah. And then a lot of people counted you guys out for the Big 12 with that 1 and 2 start. But things will start to open up for you if we continue to win.
For sure. Melvin Council said the best. People that were on that side stay on that side. So we started off kind of shaky, but we're figuring it out.
Okay. Tell fans what you like to do in your rare off time.
What I like to do, I don't know, scroll on TikTok and chill with my teammates.
Okay.
Yeah, nothing crazy.
All right. Well, it's great to have you on.
Appreciate it.
Good luck on Monday. You can bet everyone's going to be there.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it'll be explosive.
For sure, no doubt.
On Monday night. Thanks, Darryn.
Rock Chalk.
Rock Chalk.
That's Darryn Peterson postgame with David Lawrence. KU in Arizona tonight. We're going to highlight that in our game picks segment, of course. But 3 games involving top 25 teams tonight.
Yeah.
Dan, number 17, St. John's hosting Xavier. It's the Patino Bowl.
Love that.
I know. This is the second time they've met this season, and the Elder Statesmen won the first one. St. John's is minus 15.5 against Xavier. Over-under is 159.5.
Do you think his grandkids have like one of those split jerseys like Donna Kelsey had? One with St. John's, one with Xavier. I think that'd be kind of fun. Last time they played, by the way, I looked this up. St. John's only won by 5.
Yeah.
And Xavier's not a good team by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, Xavier having a down year.
Yeah, the spread's 15.5, but again, that was at Xavier. This one's going to be at St. John's. It's going to be a little bit tougher. I still like Xavier to cover that line. I just think, it could get into Rick Pitino's head. It's his son. They're going to have, you're going to have some fun on the sidelines. So I think 15.5 might be a little bit too big of a line. Give me Xavier on this.
All right, NC State Louisville is the ACC matchup, the early Big Monday game. Louisville back in the rankings at number 24, hosting the Wolfpack. The line is minus 6.5 in favor of the Cardinals. Over under 161.5.
See, here's the thing. Louisville, they confused the hell out of me because they started off really, really hot, and then they've kind of been up and down towards the latter end. NC State, I think they're going to get it going. I like Will Wade a lot. These are 2 teams that Kansas have both played this year. I like NC State on this line, man, and so does the public. It's at minus 112 right now, 6.5. I don't think that's that crazy for them to cover. I think Darryn Williams could really come out in this game.
All right, then Kansas and Arizona, 8 o'clock tonight, top 10 matchup. KU looking to defeat the number 1 team in the country at Allen Fieldhouse for the first time ever. KU is up to number 9. It's the highest Kansas has been ranked all season. Still, the Birds are home underdogs ever so slightly at +1.5. Over-under is 153.5 in the Fog.
Yes, I'm going to do it. Dan Courtright special. Kansas wins. Kansas covers. Arizona comes in. The pressure's too much. Flory Bidunga gets off to a hot start. Flory Bidunga finishes this game with 5 blocks, also a double-double. He gets over 10 rebounds in this one. Kansas shuts down Koa Pete and company. Braden Burries, I think, does have a good game, but Darryn Peterson, I think, is going to show out, hit a lot of threes in this one. I like Kansas. It opened up at 2.5. It's been bet down to 1.5. I like Kansas to win and cover.
What's been impressive about KU from an individual standpoint, particularly Darryn Peterson, Flory Bidunga, but I mean, I would throw the other guys in there too. Melvin Council, Trey White, Bryson Tiller. They have played their best ball when the lights are the brightest. It seemed that way. Iowa State, BYU, etc. expecting the same tonight. Hopefully Kansas can get a win, and that'll be news tomorrow, is that Miami of Ohio will be the lone undefeated team. Hopefully that's the case, but it should be really, really exciting. 8 o'clock tip, 6:30 Crimson and Blue Show, Sports Radio 810 WHB and across the Jayhawk Radio Network. For Elijah Schmidt running the operations and Dan Courtright, Sean Kellerman saying stay tuned to KansasNation.com tonight for the best coverage of all things KU, Arizona. Rock Chalk Sports, KansasNation.com, ESPN, Kansas City.